Hi, you guys. Erin here, back with another moon update for you. We are having a new moon coming up just around the corner here, January 31st at 9:36 p.m. Pacific time. So for those of you on the Eastern time zone or over in the UK, then this would be actually February 1st that this new moon takes place. But it doesn't really matter because we want to set our intentions really the night before or hours leading up to the new moon, because we're manifesting new beginnings. We're experiencing this is our opportunity for growth, and that growth is specified by the sign in which the new moon takes place. This new moon is in the sign of Aquarius, 12 degrees Aquarius. So this is our opportunity for 2022 to start our new beginnings or a fresh start with the Aquarius energy. And of course, we all experience this as a collective, but it can be finely tuned by understanding where that sign of Aquarius comes through in your natal chart. That's why I offer those moon readings for you guys to let you know which area of your life these new moons manifest through, what kind of connections are being made with other celestial bodies in your natal chart. But regardless, again, as a collective, we all get this experience of new beginnings. It's like new moons represent the time when the seed is in the soil and it's trying to decide which direction it's going to grow in. And it manifests over the next 6 months until we have the full moon in the sign of Aquarius. And that would be the peak of this growth cycle. Okay, so the sign of Aquarius, this is the fixed air sign. By fixed, I mean that it's fixed. It's kind of stabilized. It's set in its ways. And that air element has a lot to do with our mental function. This is like fixed mentality, which is great for, setting our intentions and sticking with it. In fact, this new moon is going to be conjunct Saturn. So that can also provide some structure to what it is we're trying to manifest. So the sign of Aquarius, let's see, this is the water bearer. And very appropriately represented by the water bearer. This is not a water sign, it's an air sign, but what the water bearer does, okay, well, digressing for a minute here, in astrology, water is associated with emotions. The sign of Aquarius has this superpower of detaching from the emotional aspect and bringing things to like an intellectual perspective. So that's what the water bearer does. It's holding this emotional water. It turns that water into pure information, like intellectual information, and pours the water out. And water is always distributed evenly. This is another thing about the sign of Aquarius. It's very much associated with humanitarianism. So this is like an act of humanitarianism, pouring this information out, distributed evenly for all of humanity. And truly, we're getting flooded with information right now as we are going into the age of Aquarius. Sign of Aquarius is also very much associated with technology. It's like a futuristic energy. It has to do with kind of being ahead of the game, has a lot to do with being genius. In fact, the motto for the sign of Aquarius is I know, like it knows. It has this interesting way of like coming up with genius ideas out of nowhere because it just knows. It's very genius energy. Sign of Aquarius is ruled by Saturn in ancient astrology. In modern astrology, it's ruled by Uranus, okay? And to me, I like to use both. It makes sense, okay? Saturn brings some stabilizing structure to this energy, but Uranus brings revolutions. Uranus brings this energy of the people for the people. Uranus's ultimate goal is freedom, but it will create all kinds of chaos in order to receive that freedom. Okay, this is like the sign, again, the sign of humanitarianism. This is an energy of the people for the people. It comes with a little bit of an anti-establishment type of energy. So we can all set our intentions for growth in any, of those things that I just mentioned. This is the time, this is the opportunity to write down what it is we're trying to manifest with these new beginnings with this Aquarius energy. And for those of you who are new to my recordings, the way that I do this, and I've been doing this for a long time now, and it has really profoundly changed my life. When we write things down, we're literally casting spells. We're spelling things out. We're putting that message out into the universe. So with the new moon, we write down, cast that spell of what it is we're trying to manifest. I pull out my journal in the hours leading up to the new moon, and I write down what it is I'm trying to bring into fruition. The way I always do it is dear God and angels. And when I'm talking to God, I'm actually just referring to source. I'm, of course, no part of any sort of organized religion. I am referring to source energy with the term God. And then with angels, the word angels, it actually comes from the word angels. The Catholic Church personified it and turned it into the word angel. Not to say that I don't necessarily have faith that there's such thing as, these personified angels or angels with wings. But when I'm praying to the angels, I'm praying to the angles. Everything in astrology is all geometric. It's all done through math and geometry, and it creates angles that I'll show you in the chart in a minute. Creates angles. And to me, those angles that are being made between the lights in the sky and myself, those are the angels that I'm praying to. So, dear God and angels, thank you for aligning me with, and for an example, this comes through my third house, my house of communication and sharing information. And not only that, but out of all the zodiac signs, the sign of Aquarius is the most associated with astrology. Okay, so I am manifesting, thank you for aligning me with the ability to communicate, again, my third house, what I know about astrology. That was kind of a weird example, but that's the way that I do this. I do that the night before the new moon, put my journal out on a windowsill where the moon transits over the sky, and I put my crystals on top of it. And that's how I've brought so many things into fruition into my life that I've just been manifesting and praying for. So that's the whole purpose of our moon manifestations, especially with the new moons. Okay, so let me go ahead and share my screen with you guys and show you all the little details of this new moon in Aquarius. So for starters, I work with geocentric Western astrology. That said, we put Earth right here in the middle, and these guys right here, these are all the symbols for the celestial bodies. Like here's Uranus, here's Chiron, Neptune, Jupiter. We're going to focus on these guys right here. This right here is the sun. This right here is the moon. You can see they're in the same spot. They're both at 12 degrees Aquarius. That's what happens when we have a new moon. The sun and the moon meet in the same degree in the same sign of the zodiac. It's the moon is the mother, the sun is the father. They're coming together to create this Aquarius energetic new baby. Okay, so 12 degrees Aquarius. This puts us in something called the second decan of the Aquarius season. That actually brings in a little twist of Gemini energy as well, which has to do with sharing information. Can also have a little bit to do with siblings here or short journeys. But more than anything, this is really a lot of mental function. Our minds can be very busy when we have the moon transiting through the sign of Aquarius. But also for this new moon, this right here, it might be kind of hard to see, but this right here is Saturn. This new moon is very close to Saturn. It's about 3 degrees away from Saturn. And Saturn, again, is one of Aquarius's rulers. So there can be some qualities to this. Saturn can help bring some structure to what it is we are trying to manifest. Saturn kind of makes the rules. He wants us to do things with baby steps. He's the ruler of time. So nothing too outrageous here. It's more like, let's really structure what it is we're trying to bring into fruition here. With that sign of Aquarius, again, this could have to do with technology. This could even have to do with you humanitarian groups. My goodness, we need you guys right now. All you people who are organizing all these little, connections for people to bring freedom to the people. This is a perfect time for you guys to really get structured with your organization. There's been plenty of other times too throughout 2021, but this is a really good opportunity for you humanitarian groups to manifest some change, some freedom for humanity over these next 6 months. Now, also what I see here is these red lines that go from here to here. These are called a square. It's actually a 90-degree angle. This is what I'm talking about, those angles that are actually, where that term angel comes from. This is, again, all done through geometry. This is a 90-degree angle, which can create some tension over here to Uranus and Taurus. This guy's got a lot to do with the digital currencies. This could have to do, I just saw some article about how they're trying to create some sort of an executive order, or maybe they're trying to take away the decentralization that cryptocurrency is trying to bring. I don't feel confident that they're going to be able to do that, but it's kind of creating this tension there, kind of maybe even a little bit of a blockage. In fact, you can even, for those of you who are on a computer screen, you might be able to see that these look like blocks. They're squares, trying to put it in a box, trying to put everything all, making these rules and regulations, but that will pass quickly. Let's see, that particular square will be over. Really, the sun will stop squaring Uranus in about a week. So there's just some, some strict regulations there, but this can also help us bring some rules and regulations to our own self and what it is, our goals that we're trying to bring into fruition here. Some other things to mention is that we just had the nodes, the North and South node just changed zodiac signs for the first time in a year and a half. And this is exciting. The North node is now in the sign of Taurus. Okay, Taurus is the fixed earth sign, very grounded, very patient, has to do with money, possessions, and values. And the North node is where celestial energy comes in. We've got a lot of chaotic energy going on in 2022, but this can be thought of as like a stabilizer, bringing some practicality to what's going on, or even, bringing in some responsibility to a certain degree, or even like practicality or reliability. That's the word I'm looking for. This can bring some reliability to the energy that we're receiving from the heavens. It's also, again, can have to do with money, possessions, and values. We are about to have a Pluto return. The United States is going to have a Pluto return in the United States' house of money, possessions, and values. There's a lot of stuff going on this year that involves money, okay? Also, the South node has now moved into Scorpio. These nodes work very, very comfortably. The North node works very comfortably in the sign of Taurus, and the South node works very comfortably in the sign of Scorpio. Sign of Scorpio likes to release energy, and that's just precisely what the South node does. It's where the celestial energy goes out, or where the tides go out, and Scorpio does well with that. Scorpio is actually the sign of kind of like flushing things out of our body for the process of transformation. And these guys, the nodes, are making some very beneficial connections over here to Mercury and Pluto going through the sign of Capricorn. This could be good for our consciousness. This can also be positive for the very powerful transformational process that we are all experiencing on Earth. And of course, this is all can be finely tuned working through your own natal chart, but just as a collective here, that can be good for this prominent transformation that we're all experiencing. Okay, let's see what else we got going on here. We still have Jupiter going to Pisces. This is wonderful. We have Neptune going to Pisces as well, as I've mentioned several times. The fact that we've got Jupiter and Neptune going through the sign of Pisces, they are both Pisces rulers. In ancient astrology, Jupiter was Pisces ruler. In modern astrology, Neptune is Pisces ruler. Again, this is another one where I apply both. It makes perfect sense to me. This is a lot of compassion and a lot of very, very spiritual energy. And Neptune's going to be going through there, I think, until like August or something like that. For the next 6 months, we've got Jupiter going through Pisces. So really we can tap into our spirit. We can tap into the intuition that we're all gifted with. Really utilize that for your spiritual awakening, which I know so many of you are having right now. We've also got Mars going through Capricorn, which is great. Mars likes to be in Capricorn. Mars wants to go, he wants to bring action, he's the warrior. And Capricorn says, whoa, 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 we're gonna do this. We've got the ambition to do this, but we're gonna do this. Don't go so fast. Plan it out. Be structured with what it is you're trying to plan. Venus is no longer in retrograde going through Capricorn. That's great. She's going to move forward and hit Pluto again. This relationship energy that we've been receiving when Venus and Pluto were conjunct. I had so many clients reaching out to me regarding relationship concerns, and Venus was retrograding. Venus has a lot to do with what we're attracted to, has a lot to do with our relationships. And now she's moving forward again. And I feel like a lot of the relationship concerns or issues can start to settle down a little bit. There might be some more turbulence coming up regarding relationships really over the next month. But for right now, kind of just stay grounded. Just really do your best to stay grounded within yourself and try to keep the emotions to a practical level and calmness, especially concerning relationships. Let's see here. I keep mentioning this. This Chiron going through Aries this is an ultimate time for self-healing, working on our own self, especially when it comes to like wounds from early childhood or wounds from past lives. If you entertain that possibility, this Chiron in Aries is a really, really good time to take on a warrior energy for healing yourself, especially emotional wounds and that sort of thing. Okay, so I'm going to leave that there. Now we're going to go into the body parts. The Aquarius rules is like the lower part of the legs, the shins and the calves. Okay, these parts of our body can become a little more sensitive when we're having a new moon in the sign of Aquarius. And then we bring in the fact that it's conjunct Saturn. So really the whole structure of our body can be kind of sensitive with this new moon transit. You might want to just pay a little extra attention to your lower part of your legs, your calves and your shins. But also the sign of Aquarius really kind of rules our electrical body. Okay, people who were born with a lot of Aquarius in their natal chart, especially like their moon in Aquarius, these people can be very, very drawn to technology. They can be very drawn to, gaming or, just social media, like things that involve using technology and our devices, our technological devices. But it's also, these people are also more susceptible to the electromagnetic field that could be destructing or disturbing their own electrical body. Now that is applied to all of us. When the moon is transiting through the sign of Aquarius, be very, very mindful about how much time you are spending on your devices, on your computer, or in front of a TV, because our electrical body becomes more sensitive to the radiation that comes off of these devices. Try to keep yourself grounded, touching earth as much as possible. I always like to mention, a grounding pad, also called an earthing pad. I've got right here a grounded mouse pad here. What this wire does is it goes down and it plugs into the electrical outlet, but it's not connected. Like there's the two prongs that go into the electrical outlet, but then there's the one on the bottom. The one on the bottom is actually, it's just connecting to a copper wire. Depending on where you live, generally speaking, this copper wire should go about like 12 feet into the earth so that it's grounded. It's connected to Earth's negative ions. And that's exactly what this wire does. It doesn't plug into the two prongs. It plugs into just the bottom part and connects to that copper wire that goes into Earth so that I'm grounded. When I've got my hand on my mouse pad, I've also got a grounded sheet or a grounded pad underneath where I'm sitting here. And then also I use a grounded pillowcase because I know I'm very sensitive to this stuff. That's another way to keep yourself protected. But then of course, there's also all kinds of gemstones. In fact, this one right here, black kyanite, is a really good one for protecting or reflecting those weird EMFs or radiation that's coming off of our devices. That's also a really good way to keep ourselves protected from this weird energy. There's so many like wonderful qualities and possibilities that are coming out of this age of Aquarius and technology and all that, wireless devices and that sort of thing. But there's also some dangerous energy as well. So it's a really good idea to keep in mind that we are being microwaved, we're being radiated with all this energy going on. So again, very, very important to keep ourselves protected. The gemstone that is dedicated to the sign of Aquarius is amethyst. Let's see, I've got some right here and right here. Amethyst is such a beautiful stone. And this is one that really can be good for pretty much anybody. If you've got a ton of Aquarius energy in your natal chart, you can still go to amethyst, but you might want to use something a little bit more grounding or protective like garnet, because you're already like operating at this frequency. You don't necessarily need this amethyst, but people, not everybody has a ton of Aquarius in their natal chart. So amethyst is a really good stone for you people like myself. I don't have any prominent celestial bodies in my natal chart that fall into the sign of Aquarius. So amethyst is a really good one for me to help me kind of tap into that frequency. But again, it's not for everybody. And going back to that journal, what I'm manifesting with my new moons, not every stone is good for every body. And I'm literally talking about your physical body. So that said, just to be safe, what we can do is after we write in our journal what it is we're trying to manifest, then we take these stones and we put them on top of our journal. I like to leave mine so it's exposed, like on the windowsill where the moon transits over the sky at night, so that it's actually the spells that I'm casting that are, tuning into the frequency of those celestial bodies. That's what I like to do with my stones. But not everybody has an amethyst, and not everybody wants an amethyst. There are plenty of other stones that resonate very, very well with the sign of Aquarius. As usual, I will leave a full extensive list of like 20 or 30 different stones that particularly resonate well with that sign of Aquarius. But just to name a few, this is one of my favorites right here. It's called Angelite, and can also kind of bring you into that angelic frequency. So I will have that one on top of my journal as well. As I mentioned, Garnet. Garnet would be a good one for this new moon because this is kind of like a Saturn frequency. And since this new moon is conjunct Saturn, if you've got a piece of garnet, that's a good one to keep around you. Again, depending on your own natal chart, but to be safe, you can just put it on top of your journal. If you don't have a journal, then write it out on a piece of paper. And I'll tell you that there's been plenty of times in my life where I'm in a situation where I know the new moon is coming and I don't have access to my journal, and I don't even have access to a piece of paper. I will literally pull out the notes app in my phone and type them out into my notes app, because I just know that casting those spells is the most important part. Of course, it's great if you can handwrite it in a journal and you've got it all in one little book, or at least on a piece of paper. But if you don't have access to that, then, again, just use your devices. Okay, so I'm going to leave that there. If you would like to schedule an astrology reading, then please do go to my website, which is erinwageastrology.com. You can book straight through my website, or just send me an email if you're not seeing something that maybe you're in a totally different time zone and my hours are, what I normally work for my office hours aren't, in perfect alignment with where you're living. So just send me an email and say, hey, can we maybe do a reading at a different time than what you're offering here? And I can be flexible with my hours, especially for you people who are in different parts of the world. I completely understand. So I do hope to hear from some of you, but more than anything, I hope that you guys are all manifesting with the moon and tapping into this real magic that we can be working with. Again, this has really been a major, major game changer in my life. And not only that, but again, the sign of Aquarius is, out of all the zodiac signs, the one that really is most associated with astrology. So keep that in mind for your new moon manifestations. Okay, you guys, until next time, namaste to all of you.